Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to another Chart Nerd TA video. Today, we're going to be diving into Bitcoin, looking at the monthly time frame and the two current, so to speak, bear cycles that Bitcoin has been through. And just doing some quick comparisons with a few indicators and some TA for you guys. So looking into this, I'm going to get some trend lines on first. So you can see this is where we first entered the bear market in 2013 through 2015 for Bitcoin there. And at this point, we entered the bear market in 2017. I'm going to go from the candle closes through to 2019. We didn't actually start breaking out. And this bear market, from our current high, coming down right now, we've got this level of resistance on our heads that the Bitcoin is currently running into, so to speak. So what I wanted to point out is I've got the two EMAs on here. So I've got this blue line here, which is the 10 EMA, okay, and I've got this 20 EMA, which is this yellow line here, creeping up in the bull market back in 2017. Now, what I wanted to point out with these EMAs is something very interesting. Now, what EMAs are, they're basically exponential. It's a moving average, and we can use them on larger time frames to sort of predict or indicate a trend or a trend direction. And we get something called bullish and bearish crosses. A golden cross or a death cross, some people like to call them, but what they indicate to us is a trend reversal. So if you look back here at the end of this bear market in 2015 for Bitcoin, it would have been a great confirmation signal. Okay, this is the point where you're getting involved, hold these EMAs as support, you're going long, okay, and this would have been a great opportunity to get involved off of this bullish cross. Now, if we come across to the next bear market, where you actually got the bullish cross in June 2019, again, this would have been a very fruitful area to get involved. Unfortunately, at this stage, we did come back to the EMAs, but we had a nasty A, B, C correction and a Corona black swan event for Bitcoin at this stage. And we did capitulate quite far, but you can see we still put in a higher low with this wick than this previous low for Bitcoin. And this golden entry point here, this bullish cross, this golden signal, would have been a great area to get involved and ride the waves up. So what we're basically looking for here on Bitcoin right now is another bullish cross. So what we need to see is this blue EMA start to creep up and this 20, okay, come down here, and the blue cross over the 20, just like it did here. Great area to get involved, just like it did here. Great area to get involved. So once we do get that confirmation signal here on the monthly time frame between the 10 and 20 EMA, where the blue crosses the 20, that for me is a great opportunity and a confirmation signal that Bitcoin is potentially entering its next bull run. Okay, so that's one indicator that we can use to sort of give us some sort of trend direction. Again, we haven't actually witnessed it at the moment. We are currently running into this blue 10 EMA on the monthly and seeing that as resistance. So we do need to see a clean breakthrough and a close above on the monthly 23K. So if Bitcoin can close out the monthly within the next 2 days above that sort of price range, I do think we're looking still very bullish in the short term moving forward. But as I've said, to wait for the confirmation signal, we need to see this blue EMA creep up, this 20 come under it, the blue EMA cross over, and that for me, when Bitcoin breaks above that, is your golden area for an entry to come back for support, hold support, and start the next wave and the next bull run here for Bitcoin. Okay, so again, keep that in mind. We do need to see a close above 23K this month, and that close is coming in very, very quickly. So that's one indicator that we can use, okay, that 10 and 20 EMA to give us sort of confirmation signals. We can also use something called the stock RSI. So, and this is this indicator down here. You can get it on your charts by going to indicators and typing in stochastic RSI. And get that in your charts. Now, what this indicates to us is a potential, again, helps us with trend direction. It's the relative strength index, the stock RSI, the stock relative strength index. And what this indicates to us is that we have areas of oversold, areas of overbought, and a middle range. So the middle range is this 50 mark here, okay, which is an average in between, you know, you could say bullish and bearish momentum. Up here, when you're above 80, you are in the overbought areas, which is a good place and indication to sort of sell. And when you're in these oversold areas below, I think it is below 20, you're in the range where it's a good area to accumulate and get involved for the next cycle or run for Bitcoin. So what you can see here is that during bear markets or Bitcoin's past bear markets, it wasn't when you first entered this oversold range that would have been great to get involved, because as you can see here in 2015, even though you was oversold, Bitcoin still did crash a further when it lost support, it crashed a further 60%. So this doesn't indicate as soon as you get to these oversold areas, it's a good time to get involved. But what I've noticed, again, sorry, you can see that here. You was holding this level of support, you was in the oversold range, but you still crashed. Once you lost that support, Bitcoin crashed a further 46%. So it wasn't until the latter part of this oversold area for Bitcoin in previous bear markets, you can see where it would have been good to actually get involved. So what I wanted to point out is that you can see here in the latter parts of the stock RSI being oversold, would have been great areas to sort of get involved and accumulate for Bitcoin during a bear market. So we come across over to where we are now. We've been in this period for quite a while. To me, what it indicates is that right now we are in this potential phase, which is a great time to accumulate. Again, be cautious. As I've said, you're running into resistance, and we have had a 40% pump over the past month. So we do need to be careful here. But again, generally speaking, on the macro scale, these sort of terms and environments, when you are in these areas, if you look at the price, are very significant areas where you could start to accumulate and get involved, looking to catch the next bull market. Now, I wanted to look at some potential targets for the next bull market moving forward. If this 15K is the low and this continues to hold, okay, and we do hold that as support, Bitcoin's next bull market targets for me would sit at a 1618 target from this low, retracing to the all-time high. Once Bitcoin does start to get back above 69K, I think you're looking at 170K Bitcoin in the next sort of bull market peak cycle. Now, I'm going to give some evidence to why that theory may back up. So if we look at the previous bear market here, in 2019, where we came to this low, we retraced from this low back up to this previous all-time high for Bitcoin. And once Bitcoin did take out that 19K, which was this previous bull market high, it actually rallied up. You can see bang on to the 62K range, and that 1618 target, Bitcoin met it. Okay, so what's not to say that from this low, retracing to this high, that Bitcoin can't break out this all-time high and come up to 171K? Because it did here. It came down, it broke out of this previous all-time high, and it ran up to the 1618. So right now we're coming down. Once we break out of the all-time high, you're running back up to the 1618. Okay, and history has shown that. Again, if we go back to this bear market down here, I think it was an even more impulsive target. So from this bear market to this bull run, okay, what happened is once you actually took out from this low, retracing to this high, once you actually came up and took out the previous all-time high here, Bitcoin actually rallied up past the 2 fib. Okay, it beat the 1618 and rallied to the 2. So what we're looking for here, I think a minimum wave for Bitcoin in the next bull run for me is 102K. I think that may be the minimum target Bitcoin gets in its next bull run. Again, there are very strong levels of resistance above. Moving forward here on the monthly for that to occur. Again, you've got this downwards trend of resistance here for Bitcoin that we're currently running into. We do need to see this level of resistance tackled and closed above. We need to see multiple closes above this trend line, okay, to get some confirmation. Equally, we've got the 10 EMA and the 20 that we're still below and need to get back above. Bitcoin potentially, if we do see the close here above the monthly 10 EMA, if we do see Bitcoin close above this monthly 10, I think it gives you an indication that potentially your next target is up to this 20, which currently sits at, the 20 EMA sits at around 28K. Now, that 28K range is very important and significant because since Bitcoin actually lost it as support back in 2021, it hasn't actually back tested it as resistance. So that monthly 20 EMA, I'm keeping my eyes on, because if Bitcoin does have another impulsive move, I think that could be the potential target of where it tries to get to in the near short term, where potentially right now you come up, you meet resistance, come back for support, coil up for a little bit, again, let these EMAs catch up. And I think you potentially may run into that 28K range that was previous support for Bitcoin that once you lost, you haven't actually back tested. So that would be my next target, I think, moving forward for Bitcoin. In the near short term. But again, if we do meet resistance, we have to consider that potentially we could be expecting some more downside here for Bitcoin. We could be. And one way we could look at this and say, okay, this correction's not over, is, well, if we look at points of contact on previous bear market trends, in this trend here, Bitcoin actually had 1, 2, 3. On its fourth point of contact is where it broke out. Okay, now in this trend for Bitcoin here, Bitcoin had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, around 6 points of contact before it broke out. If we look at our current trend line for Bitcoin, we've only had 1, 2, 3. We're attempting our third point of contact right now. So this theory, even though there's only 2 data points, indicates, okay, potentially Bitcoin hasn't completed its downside yet, and maybe it's looking to retrace. Now, if Bitcoin was to retrace, my targets for it, okay, if this was the local high retracing to this 15K, if Bitcoin did come back down, put in a low, and then run into another leg of resistance for a fourth point of contact on this trend line downwards here for the bear market, I think we're looking between a 13 to 12K range, of which you'd be coming down and back testing this previous area of resistance that, since Bitcoin actually broke out of, hasn't back tested as support. So potentially, if we are meeting resistance and this is a bull trap, I think 13 to 12K is a range that Bitcoin could potentially find a very key level of support and absolutely start melting faces at that point, because I think you'd be very overextended to the downside. So we're going to be keeping an eye on that, okay? We do need to tackle above the 10. We need to tackle above the 20, confirm them as support, coil up, and break out, okay? That's what we need to see for the continuation here. One other thing I wanted to point out, a bearish indicator, okay, because it's good to look at both sides here. Previous bear markets have lasted between 86 and 84%. So if we look at this bear market here in 2015, okay, where we came down to the low, you can see that Bitcoin actually came down 86%. If we look at the previous bear market here in 2017 to 2019, 2018, 2019, Bitcoin actually came down 84%. If we look at the current bear market that Bitcoin's going through, we're only down 77. So to give some validation here as well and a bit more confirmation of where an 84% correction would be, is that the 84 to 85% correction is between 10 to 11K. So that gives us some sort of theory that potentially we could be coming back down to this area for support before we actually take off into space for Bitcoin. So there's bullish and bearish cases scenarios here, guys. We need to see the follow through this month. We need to see the monthly candle here close, I think, above 23K to confirm, okay, we could potentially be looking at more upside to this monthly 20 here. But again, just to finalize, guys, if you are waiting for the golden opportunity and a confirmation signal, just wait for the monthly bullish cross between the 10 and the 20, because when that occurs, you can see Bitcoin literally starts to take off into space. So wait for this 10 to cross the 20, okay, and that for me, guys, is your confirmation signal of your next bull run. I hope you enjoyed the content today, guys. Please do like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bells for my next videos. From Chartner TA, take care, peace out.